Feels like Monday today, doesn't it?
Yes.
Monday, December 28th. This is Gentle. If anybody's out there, let me know if you have any trouble hearing. I'm trying to start to speak up now. So, still speaking through a mask. So, it's probably going to be for a while. So sit however's comfortable. You know, if you're in your chair, just try to get your feet hip distance apart and parallel. And if you're on the floor, be mindful of how your own hips feel. Use a blanket if you need to sit up on. Let yourself close your eyes here now. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. And just be with your own breath. Feeling your breath coming in and going out. Actually, just take 1 or 2 breaths where you breathe in through your nose and just gently let the breath out through your mouth. Now with a mask here at the studio, be mindful. But just a couple of times. And then see if you can just let your breath come in and go out through your nose. Imagine that you're breathing equally in and out through both sides of your nose. Let your breath come in to the belly, into the ribs, and up into your chest. If you can easily find those 3 parts. Inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, up into the chest. And on the exhales, letting the breath out of your chest, then your ribs, then your belly. Our arms now, come on down beside us. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And exhale our hands right down to come right in front of our chests. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now let's inhale our arms straight out from our shoulders and rotate your palms up here for a second. Really let the elbows soften a little bit. Feel soft in the tops of your shoulders. And then bend your elbows and let your fingertips touch the tops of your shoulders here. And start to circle a little bit those elbows. Doesn't matter which way because we'll switch directions. And if you want, you can get bigger and bigger. So if it feels good in your shoulders to really start to increase the size of the circles, you can, or you can stay small. And we are going to reverse direction, so you stop where you choose and start going the other way. And again, it can be small, little circles that get bigger and bigger or that stay small. So just waking up your own shoulders here. And then the next time your elbows are coming down towards the ground, go ahead and unfold your arms on down beside you, and then float your hands out a little ways and circle your hands around. So you come into your wrists. And then we'll reverse and circle the other way. Good. And then just spread your fingers really wide and then make your hands into fists with your thumbs on top for a second. And then spread your fingers wide again, and now put your thumbs in first and gently just curl your fingers around them. So again, open your hands out really wide, and then make fist thumb on top here of the fingers. And then open wide one more time, and then put your thumbs in first and gently curl your fingers over. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us here. Shake out a little bit, your arms, your hands. And let's cross our right ankle above our left knee. So if you're on the floor, you can be above or below your knee. Take your time. Get comfortable the way that you have yourself crossed there. Flex through your right foot and ease your way forward just a little bit. So coming into opening the hip. You might want to press the ball of your foot into your hand a little, or you can even do the interlacing your fingers between your toes if that feels good. And even massaging. I mean, if you'd like to massage your toes a little bit or your feet, just be mindful. Coming into releasing a little bit in that right hip. Good, and then we'll rise on back up, and we're going to twist from here. So inhaling here, and exhale into your twist to the right. Right arm behind you, left hand over towards that right knee, lengthening up through the top of your head. Think of your chin being about parallel to the floor. One more inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to come back through center and keep going all the way into the other direction on that twist. So letting yourself just wake up the spine here. Think of engaging your low belly. One more breath. And then we'll come on back around into center. And we're going to switch our legs out. So take your time. If you need to stretch your legs out a little bit, do. And again, when you cross the left ankle above or below the knee, be mindful here again as you ease your way a little bit forward or more depending on you. Again, you can press the ball of your foot into your hand, or you can interlace your fingers kind of there between your toes, or massage your toes a little bit, or your feet. But just enjoy. Let your shoulders release and your face be soft. Good. So one more breath here. And then let's slowly come up. We're going to twist, remember, inhaling here at the top. And as you exhale, twisting to your left. So your right hand again can come to your knee if you want there, or to the midline if you'd rather. Lengthening upward. Feel your sitting bones reaching down. One more inhale. And let your exhale draw you on back around through center and all the way around into the other direction. And one more inhale. And on the exhale, coming on back around into center again. And let's uncross our legs and stretch them both out. So whether you're in the chair or on the floor, let yourself flex and point your feet a little bit. Might even want to pedal them if that feels good. You can do one at a time, or you can do both same time. Just ease your way. Feel your ankles moving there. Circle a little bit if you can. Circle your feet around. Good. And then release to come on back down. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees from here. So take your time, and if you don't want to be on your knees, use your chair underneath your hands if you'd like to, or use a blanket underneath your knees if that feels better. So just getting to where you feel you're okay to be and you don't feel discomfort. You don't want to feel discomfort in your knees. So get comfortable for your wrists, whether you go flat onto your hands or you make fists or hold the edge of your chair. And now take a nice inhale. Let yourself look down between your hands. And on your exhale, draw up into that cat pose now. And stay here for a breath or two. Let your head hang. Feel your navel drawing towards your spine, your tailbone dropping down. And on our next inhale, we'll send our tailbone back and up. You may decide to come like to a more neutral spine, looking between your hands. Or you may want to keep going and look forward. That depends on you and your neck. And let yourself find your cow pose here. Next exhale, again, drawing up into that cat pose. And on your inhale, moving your way back through. And you can take your own time now. Moving with your breath. Stopping if you need to in cat or cow. Enjoying that suppleness of your spine. And then finishing the one you're on so you can return to a neutral spine here. And let's step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into a lunge. So you know where you have your hands, totally up to you. You can use the seat of your chair. You can come down to blocks any height. Just be mindful. See if you can let yourself just a little bit. When you inhale, lift your hips up a little higher. And when you exhale, let them come back down into the lunge. So it's a little movement. It's like a little pulse, really. Letting your inhales let you come up a little with your hips, which will straighten that front leg a little more, and then bending the knee a little deeper when you come back into that lunge. Just a couple more times. And we are going to switch our legs out. So when you're ready, coming to that right foot in front, and again, take your time, get your lunge where you know you're comfortable. And then again, those little pulses, if you can. When you inhale, rising the hips up a little bit higher, exhaling, coming back down. So be mindful. Don't push it. Just let it feel like a real easy warm up here for the legs and the hips. Good. And then finish off into the lunge. We're going to switch again. Now this time, pressing the feet apart like you're trying to make your mat longer. You decide if you want to bring your left hand or forearm up to your thigh, or if you want to bring both hands or up to your thigh or forearms up to your thigh, that's fine. And then we're going to come on back down and switch. So again, getting into your lunge where you're comfortable. Pressing the feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer, and then deciding whether it feels good to bring the right hand or forearm up or both. Find that length in the back of your body. Good. And then we'll bring the hands down. We're going to step forward and come into our standing forward bend now. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Bend the knees as much as you want to. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. And then let your head just move around a little bit. Turn it side to side and feel the weight of your head, whatever helps you do that, nodding or shaking your head. And use support. If your back feels iffy, make sure you use support where your back feels okay. Elbows above your knees, hands on the chair or the blocks. And then back to now watching those breaths. If you can feel your jaw relax a little bit. Good. One more breath. Full deep breath into the ribs. And then letting your hands come onto your hips. We'll rise on up to standing. Let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose, let yourself, if you need to readjust or walk in place a little bit, find those feet parallel as feels good for you, bringing your hands to your heart. Letting your eyes be opened or closed, but imagine you're looking out towards where the horizon would be if you were outside. And then just imagine you're standing in an empty, open field. So you're in a really big open space. Air all around you. Imagine that you're breathing in and out through every pore of your skin. And then we'll let our arms unfold on down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend the knees as we come forward into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back, whether your hands go to the chair, the blocks, or your legs. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. So draw your shoulders down, find that length again. Nice inhale. And on the exhale, coming into your downward facing dog pose where you feel comfortable for your hands to be, whatever height that is. The seat of the chair, the blocks, any height. Walk a little bit if you can, just bending a knee at a time. Let your elbows softly hug towards each other. And then finish off into evenly being there between your feet, whether your knees are bent or straight. And we'll come on out towards a plank. And you know, as you come into plank, it's up to you. You can go down to your forearms if your wrists bother you, or you can put your knees down and do a half plank. Engage the belly, nice and strong. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Elbows hugging inward. Think about your head being in line with your spine. And let's bring our right foot forward here to come into lunge. So press the feet gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer, and zip up your low belly. And we'll come forward into standing forward bend from here. Feet right under us. And take your time again. Support if you need. If you like to hold your own elbows, do. Just be aware of how your own back feels and really try to enjoy the weight of your head. Imagine you're relaxing your throat, even your tongue. One more breath. And then from here, we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's bring our left arm over our right to give a hug here. Let yourself release your elbows down. It doesn't matter whether you hold more to your armpits or up and over your shoulders. It depends on how you're built. And then just sit back a little like you're coming into chair pose. Let it be easy. You don't have to go very deeply if you don't want. You can stay up pretty high. Just let yourself feel your legs engage, your thighs. You can decide you want to come in towards an eagle arm wrap or not. You know, you can stay hugging, or you can slide the back of your right hand to the outside of your left elbow. So depending on you and your shoulders, how much you want to come up into the arms here. One more breath. And then press into the feet. Come on up. Release your arms on down beside you. Let's inhale the arms all the way out and up into a wide V. Let your pinkies turn towards each other. So mountain with arms overhead, but wide. And kind of imagine you're just allowing that sense of space to happen between your ears and your shoulders. And now as we exhale, we're going to let the arms come back down beside us and clasp our hands behind us for a second. Let yourself send your hands down so the arms are fairly straight. Shoulders release away from your ears. And then rise those arms straight out from your shoulders again. Now let's bring the right arm on top of the left to give a hug again. Elbows melt down. You decide here where you want to hold, and then again, shift your hips back a little bit, coming into that little chair pose. You can stay hugging or coming into that wrap or half wrap. So if you decide you want to slide the back of your left hand to the outside of your right elbow, you can. Feel your feet very equal in the floor. Imagine your arches lifting up. And now press into the feet, rise on back up, and release your arms on down beside you. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come forward this time into standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find that nice flat back here. And we're going to step the left foot back and come into lunge. Again, you decide to come into your down dog where you like your hands to be, what height. So let's come on back into downward facing dog pose. Take your time. Let yourself release into that length of your spine, even if it means you need to bend your knees. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And then we'll come on out towards that plank. So again, if you need to put your knees down, do it. If you need to let yourself come to forearms because your wrists bother you. Think about really reaching your sitting bones down towards your heels. Feel your belly engaging. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Find that sense of equality between the sides of your body. And we'll bring the left foot forward to come into lunge here. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend with our feet under us. right to your breath. Whatever feels good for your arms. I mean, you may want to put your hands up on your back, or you might want to hold your elbows, and you might want to use support under your hands or your forearms. Easy breaths. Really feel the ribs expanding on your inhales. And then we'll bend our knees more deeply, press into our feet equally, rising on up and inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, letting our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Reversing, inhaling the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms as we come on forward. And let your next inhale help you find that long, long spine. And we're going to step into down dog from here. So take your time. You know that. Release your way back into your down dog. And on your next inhale, come on out to that plank. And again, you can stay in plank. You can move through to a back bend if you choose. You can come down to the floor and come into a sphinx or a cobra, or you can come to an up dog. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. So remember, these back bends are optional. You can come out to plank and without doing a back bend after that. So coming on out again, in towards that plank, whether you stay in that plank there to core strength build or come through for a back bend is up to you. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge here. And then coming on into our standing forward bend again. Watching your breaths now, in and out. And then we'll bring our hands on back to the hips, bend our knees, and rise on up. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our heart. Spread your fingers nice and wide here. Again, whether your eyes are opened or closed, imagine you're looking on out towards the horizon. And feel as balanced as you can, both right to left and front to back. Very equal through your feet. And then we'll go ahead and unfold our arms on down beside us. Hands shake out, move around a little bit if you need to. And we're going to come into some warriors. So if you're using a chair, you might want to turn it around so the back of it's facing you. And have your blocks handy in case you need them here. And come on forward towards the front of your mat. We're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior one. So drawing your shoulders around square. Let yourself, if you can, let your left hand encircle your right wrist back behind you. Okay, so, if that hurts your shoulders, don't do it. You can bend your elbows as much as you need to. But make sure you're not drawing that right shoulder back. Draw the right shoulder around square towards the front of your mat there. And just be really easy. Let yourself come into a couple of 3-part breaths. Feel the arches of both feet lifting up. Good. And then we'll release our arms on down. We're going to inhale the arms forward and up. Now you can widen them out if you want into a wide V, or you can have the hands directly over your shoulders. Maybe even bringing your gaze up a little bit. Imagine you have like a bar at the base of your shoulder blades. And you just want to lift a little bit up and over that bar. It doesn't mean you have to go deeply into a back bend at all. Just feel that lift right at the base of the shoulder blades. Feet very firmly into the floor. Inhaling up the front of the body. Exhaling down the back. Good. One more breath. And then we'll lower our arms on down, and we're going to turn to come into a wide-legged forward bend. So coming into the feet more parallel here, so that you come forward. Whether you grab a block or blocks or not is up to you. Take your time, and once you get your hands grounded, go ahead and bend a knee at a time. And you can do that at your own pace. You may want to stay a little bit longer on one side, or you may want to move back and forth a little more. And if it bothers your knees, don't do it at all. Good. And then come on back to center and lengthen out through the spine, whether you have your hands on the floor in front of you or the blocks. Find a nice flat back here now. We're going to add a little twist. Now, right hand comes a little more to the midline, and let your left hand come up onto your hip and then your low back, rolling that shoulder up. Now, as you find that twist in the middle of the back, you're level there at your hips. Press your feet away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat, so that you really are engaged up into the legs, up into the hips. Inner thighs are melting backwards. And then bring your left hand down. We're going to switch. And left hand grounds, right hand comes up to the hip, low back. And as you roll that shoulder up, again, leveling there, right there at the sacrum. Twist in the middle of the back, feet pressing away from each other. One more breath here. And then come on back down with the hand. Now you can decide here, if you want to stack your blocks up and get out of your hands and let your head release here in this pose, you can, so that the back isn't quite so stressed here, right? If you feel like your back feels wonderful to fold forward, you can. Bringing your hands more to between your feet, letting the crown of the head release towards the floor. That's just not for everybody's back. So following your breaths now, let your awareness stay with your breaths all the way through to the end of your inhales and all the way through to the end of your exhales. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk ourselves on out with our hands if we're not already there. And coming on up to standing, you decide if you need your feet to come together before you come up. Once you're up there, bring those feet together and move around a little bit. Move through your feet too. If you need to, curl your toes under a little bit, you can. And stretch out your feet. Pick your feet up if you need to and circle. And we're going to do the other side. So this time, stepping your left foot back for that warrior one. And again, just be mindful. Let it feel really good so that you can easily then bring your hands behind you, bringing that left shoulder forward, letting your left hand encircle your right wrist. And be really easy about that. So don't force anything. If you need to shorten your stance, do. Feel very square here in the shoulders. Good. And then be with your breath. See if you can find a couple of those three-part breaths, feeling equal through the feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. And then we'll release our arms down. And we're going to inhale again, the arms forward and up. You can widen into a wide V or keep the hands over your shoulders. Turn your pinkies a little more towards each other. And again, imagine that bar at the base of your shoulder blades, like it's supporting you a little bit. So it's very easy to feel that lift. Yes, it's like your arms are growing out of your back. Beautiful. One more breath here. And then we'll lower our arms on down. Again, we're turning sideways on our mat to get our feet more parallel here if we can. And we're going to come forward. This time, if you can, put your elbows above your knees. Let your knees be bent. And lengthen out through your spine this way here. And see if you can. I mean, you can clasp your hands or you can just touch the tips of your fingers together, whatever feels comfortable for your hands. And then let your right shoulder just draw over like you're reaching towards your left foot with your right shoulder. And then come on back into center and go left shoulder over like it's reaching towards your right foot. Come on back to center again. We're going to do that again. Right shoulder goes towards the left. And then come on back to center and left shoulder going over towards the right foot. And then come on back into center And again, you can bend your knees one at a time if you want to. You can adjust your stance. And again, you can set yourself up if you'd like, however that feels good for you. Using your blocks if you want for your head or your forearms or your hands. You know, you might want to hold your ankles. Just experiment a little bit, like kind of move your arms around to where you think, oh, this feels the best today. Finding where you can be. And then just breathe. Let the breath do it for you. All you need to do is follow your breath in and out. Good. One more nice, full, deep breath. And when you get ready to come up, you use your hands wherever you need, adjusting yourself as you come on back up. Bring those feet on together. And again, if you need to move around a little bit, do. Walk around a little bit if you want. And we're going to come into Warrior Two this time. So right foot's going to step back again, and you're welcome to use your chair to give you support there if it helps you with balance. Line up your heels, line up that front knee. Let yourself be really mindful here. Feeling the pose here. Legs all the way up into your hips, and then we'll reach our arms on out. Now for a second, let your hands circle around a little bit. And go the other way so you feel pretty easy. Try not to tense up in the tops of your shoulders. And then go ahead and reach out through the fingertips. Your palms are facing down. Really feel like you're reaching just as much back through the right fingertips as you are forward through the left. You can look over the top of your left hand. If that bothers your neck, don't do it. You can keep your gaze more centered there. And let's turn our left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice breath here into the left side of the body. And on our exhale, come into our side angle where either our left hand or forearm is on our thigh or our chair. And if you want to add the right arm up into line, do. If that bothers your shoulder, don't do it. Keep the hand down or bring the arm straight up if you want. Still, there's this length through both sides of the body. So the spine is really lengthened. Imagine reaching your right sitting bone down towards your right heel. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Press the feet away from each other as we come. Now we're going to bring our hands down and find a lunge. So you may want to use your chair. You may, as you turn into your lunge, want to use your blocks. Doesn't matter what height you are. Take your time. Get yourself situated. And then we're going to add a twist, bringing our left hand to our left hip and rolling that shoulder up. You can keep your hand down on your low back, or you can stretch the arm up. It's totally up to you which one feels good, but just enjoy. You're still fairly level in your hips. The twist is in the middle of your back. The spine is lengthened. And then we'll come on back down with our hand, and we're going to step forward and get our feet underneath us. And you're standing forward bend for a couple of breaths. Let your knees bend as much as you want and feel that heavy head. And let go of your face and your jaw. Your throat. Relax your throat. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead, letting our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy your mountain pose for a couple breaths. Again, looking on out, feeling equal through your feet. Enjoying more energy now flowing through the body. And then we'll go ahead and unfold. Shake out a little bit again before we do the other side. So coming into that right foot forward for Warrior Two. And again, lining up your heels. Really be mindful of getting that sense of being open all the way up into the hips here. Bending that right knee out over the center of that right foot. And then again, let's reach out through the arms and let your hands circle a little bit so you feel real easy there. Circle the other way. Let your shoulders release down as you do this. So try not to tense up, really release. And then reach out through the fingertips here now. Really feel, again, like you're reaching just as much back through the left fingertips as you are forward through the right. Let your feet press gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. Good. We're going to turn that right palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Feel that breath coming into the right side of the body as you inhale. And on your next exhale, coming into that side angle. So again, it can be your right hand or forearm on your thigh or your chair back. And if you want to add that left arm up into line, do. Otherwise, your shoulder bothers you, keep your hand down. Find again that length through both sides of the body though. So reaching your left sitting bone down towards your heel. Good. One more breath. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. There you are, right back into the strength of your Warrior Two. And we'll bring our hands down. We're going to come into lunge. So again, as you turn and bring your hands to the height you want to use and you release that left heel directly behind your foot, you're going to stay grounded with that left hand and bring your right hand up. Now, if you can roll that shoulder up, do. Try to stay level. You can feel whether you are with this right hand, whether you're dropping into that left side or not. And then again, if you want to reach that right arm up, you can. Enjoy that length again, all the way through the body here. Good. We're going to come on back down with that right hand. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And then just again, get comfortable so you can stay here with your breath. Whether it means using support or holding your elbows, or maybe you feel like you want to put your hands behind your legs onto your calves or up on your back. Remember, if that feels good. And imagine now you're just really even between your right and your left side. Even weight between your right and your left foot. And then bringing our hands on up to our hips, we'll bend our knees and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy now. Again, just coming into your mountain pose. Feel like you're pressing your feet maybe gently into the floor, but you're drawing upward with your thighs. Tailbone is reaching down towards between your heels. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us and shake out a little bit, move around a little. We're going to bring our mats into a wall here at the studio. So at home, if you have a bit of a wall, it would be good. And if not, no worries. So just take your time. Those of you who don't have a wall, you can use your blocks if you want to practice this. But those of us who have the wall are going to bring our hands to the wall and step back to try to find that 90-degree angle at our hips. So a down dog, if you're at home, you can even use a kitchen counter. It's the perfect height. As you step back, you want your feet right under your hips so that you have that 90-degree angle and your elbows are hugging towards each other. So it's like you're the shape of a capital letter L, right? Spread your fingers nice and wide. Now, if this bothers your wrist, you're welcome to come to fists because it is very extreme into the wrist here. Yeah. You can bend your knees if you need to. Find that length of the spine. Now, see if you can let your feet come a little closer together. Glance up at your hands. Make sure you don't have one higher than the other if you're on a wall. Look back down at the floor and lift your right leg up in the air behind you for a little Warrior Three. Toes are facing down. Let yourself just reach into that inner right heel back there. Now stay as equal as you can in your upper body. We're going to bring that foot down and we're going to switch and lift the left foot up. Turn the toes down towards the floor. Press equally back out of your hands. Hug your elbows towards each other. And just enjoy this warrior three here. Really probably one of the hardest ones. One more breath. We're going to bring that foot down. Bend both your knees for a second. We're going to do it one more time. Right leg's going to come up. Press back out of your hands. And then bring that right foot back down. And we're going to bring the left foot up. Good. And then come on back down. Walk into the wall. Turn your back to the wall. And then walk your feet out. And just bend your knees a little bit. Let your hips release and lean back into the wall a little bit. So you don't have to go deep. Just enough to let your hips release after all that. And breathe. Just enjoy feeling that wall supporting you. Let your arms really hang if you can. Good. And then let's come back and turn our left shoulder towards the wall. Okay? So as we do, get real close. If you're right by that wall, get as close as you can so you're snuggled up to it, really. And then bring your right arm up and over the top. Let your right fingertips touch the wall and lean the left side of your head into the wall. So you're really finding a lot of space between the ribs on the right side of the body. And obviously, if you can't reach, don't touch. If you can't reach to the wall, don't do it. Just breathe into the side of the body. Let it be relaxed. And then we'll come up, lower that right arm down. Let your left inside arm come up the wall. And now we're going to bend our left elbow and put our left hand behind us somewhere. It might be on the top or the back of your head, or it might be into your upper back. And then put your right hand behind you. Let your palm face outward. It can be down low. Way down on your sacrum, down low so your shoulder feels okay. Or you might want to think about trying to bring your hands closer together on your back. You just don't want to do anything that makes your shoulders feel uncomfortable. Let your gaze stay forward so you're not rounding into the upper back here. You've got all the natural curves in your back. And just breathe. Just let it feel really good. Imagine you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to step away from the wall and bring our arms on down. Kind of shake them out a little bit, swing them a little bit. We're going to turn around. And at first, remember, you're up close to the wall, and you're going to bring your left outside arm up. And then bring your fingertips towards the wall. Let your head, if you can, just relax into the wall. So that you can focus. You don't feel stressed. If this stresses your shoulder, change where your hand is a little bit. It can be more forward. If you don't want to add the arm, just leave it down. You're still going to get a side stretch, even if you don't have your arm up. And then just breathe into that left side. See if you can think about relaxing your neck, your face. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on up and we're going to bring that right inside arm up now and bend your right elbow. Again, try to keep your gaze forward wherever your hand can go to. If you need to step away from the wall, do. And then left hand back. Down low if you want, or thinking about drawing the hands towards each other if that's okay on your shoulders. Remember that elbow, right elbow can be more forward. You can decide that you need to step farther away from the wall. And just enjoy now, letting the spine find its natural curves so that instead of, rounding forward there in the upper back, again, it's like you're breathing in and out through your heart. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to step away from the wall, bring our arms on down, and again, see if you can swing your arms around a little bit. Swing them back and forth. Let it feel easy. Good. And we're going to come down onto the floor, onto our bellies from here. So take your time, let yourself come on down, and be mindful if your neck bothers you when you come down to lay on your belly. If you don't like making a little pillow with your hands and resting your forehead on your hands, then do what feels good. You can put a blanket underneath your forehead or put your head on the floor if that's better. But see if you can really release your legs. Let your legs go all the way up into your hips relaxed. So everybody's different. Some people that makes your heels just kind of hike outward. Some people it's the opposite. So you don't want to force anything, just try to let go all the way up into your hips. And breathe into your low back. Good. And then let's come on to our forearms for a little Sphinx pose. So at first, turn your palms up. Spread your hands out, right? And think about just drawing your thumbs as much down towards the ground as you can. They probably won't reach, or they might. It depends on you. But just feel that nice ease here of feeling the chest opening up. Now slowly start to turn your hands over so the palms face down and you're really spreading your fingers wide here. And if it bothers your back, you need to come lower, just do it and bring your elbows down more towards your waist or up more towards the front of your mat. Coming into that Sphinx pose, imagine now just releasing so you don't lift your chin up and jut your chin forward, but the head is like a part of your spine. Good, and then bring your hands together, clasp them, send your pinky finger out. Bend your knees, lift your hips up a little bit. You can come onto that flesh above your knees into a half forearm plank. Even imagine you're trying to pull yourself towards the front of your mat a little bit. So your elbows are coming down more towards the foot of your mat. You pull yourself a little forward. It's a different feeling and engage your belly. Now you can stay here, or you can decide you want to go up with the knees. Put your feet down and come into that full forearm plank if you choose. That is up to you. And one more breath. Now we're going to come down and we're going to roll onto our left side, but we're going to stay up on this forearm to do just a little bit of forearm plank work, right? Side plank. So bring your knees forward at first and get your left elbow right underneath your shoulder and let your left hand become a loose fist. Send it a little upward, a little bit more towards the corner of your mat there. And now if this is uncomfortable for your shoulder, don't do it. But if you can just press a little bit down, you may want to stay right here. If you want more, you can stretch your top leg out maybe, feel a little bit more. Or you can stretch your bottom leg out and put your right foot on the floor in front of you, which is an even different feeling. And if you want to lift your hips up, if that foot's there, you may even decide you want to lift your arm up. Totally, all this is optional. Don't do any of it if it hurts your shoulder. Stay down with your hips. You can do a full side plank if you want, any of you who want to. And then we're going to come down. Let's go right on back to our belly for a second. And let your arms release right down beside you. Turn your palms down towards the ground. And on your next inhale, float up a little bit now into a little locust. Let it be low. Just reach your fingertips and your toes back towards the wall behind you. Good. And then let yourself release to come down. And we're going to roll up onto our right forearm now to come onto that other side. So again, get your right elbow right under your right shoulder there. Make a loose fist with your right hand. Send it upward a little bit towards the corner of your mat. You can stay right here, knees bent. Stay right here and enjoy feeling your shoulder working a little bit there. You can just decide to stretch the top leg out for a second or not do it at all. Or you can do the one where you stretch your bottom leg out, put your left foot on the floor in front of you, lift up your hips if you want, and if you want to add the arm up, you can. or do a full side plank if you choose. Good. One more breath. We're going to come down again back to our bellies. And again, let your arms come down alongside you. Turn your palms up this time so that actually that kind of makes your shoulders want to roll downward. That's okay. Let that happen for a minute. And then turn the palms down. Feel how your shoulders draw away from the floor. And on your inhale, come on back into that locust pose again. Reaching fingertips and toes back towards the wall behind you. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release down, and we're actually going to roll onto our backs from here. So, you got to position yourself back towards the center of the mat. Let your knees bend so that then once you get positioned and you're fine, you can bring your knees in towards your chest. And then keep your right knee in and stretch your left leg down long on the floor. Flex through both your feet a little bit. Feel your right leg coming into your hands. Good, and then we'll switch. We're going to bring the left knee in now and extend that right leg down long on the floor. And again, flex through both your feet. Feel your left leg gently coming into your hands. Good, and then bring both knees on in towards the chest. And see if you can let your knees circle in the same direction. So your hands can be on your knees or not, doesn't really matter. Just let your knees circle one direction. So you can almost feel like you're outlining your sacrum really on the ground there. And then when you get ready to stop and go the other way, just let yourself reverse. Good. And then come back into center with the knees. We'll bring the feet onto the floor. And now set up for a little bridge pose, but we're not going to lift up quite yet. Just get your feet set. And then once you feel kind of okay, bring your arms down alongside you. Let your palms face down. And just feel the arms nice and long here. And then lift your heels up. Let yourself press into the balls of the feet. Just feel like you're kind of pushing the floor away from you. Feel your quads engaged. You can even kind of float your hips up a tiny little bit if you want. And then bring the heels on back down. Let yourself come back down. Let's bend our elbows now. Turn your palms to face each other and start to press into the backs of the upper arms. Roll your shoulders under. If you can lift up and keep rolling more under, do. And then as you start to press more, rise your hips up into your bridge pose now. And once you get as high as you kind of want to be in your bridge, lift your heels up again, which will lift your hips up a little higher. Now, the trick here is to see if you can keep your hips where they are and put the heels back down, which usually gives you more quad work, more thigh work, right? So that's up to you. You can play with this. If you need to come down, do it. Remember, if you need to reposition where you start in your bridge pose with your feet, do it. Grab a block if you'd rather, and come into supported bridge if you would rather do that. So if a block underneath you feels really good, because we'd rather release into the pose, it can be a block low, lowest height, middle height. You can stack 2 blocks up if you want to be high. Just be mindful. If you don't want to use a block and you like to stay in your bridge, just be careful. Don't push it. Come down if you need and rest and go back up again maybe. I know some of you, when you're on the block, like to play a little bit with your feet or a foot or one leg going up or both legs. If you like that, go for it. So if you're on a block and it feels good to let one of your legs go up in the air at a time, or both of them do, or even to let yourself release one leg down towards the ground, or
I know there's so many things you can do if you're in a supported bridge that feel good, but everybody's different. You know, some people even like to keep their feet on the floor and let one leg be long when they're supported in their bridge to open up the front of the hips. Your hip flexors can get a nice stretch that way, or you can release both legs down long at the same time. So really, kind of give yourself a few minutes. Let it be a gift to let your body do really what it needs. And you know, when you do get ready to come down, be mindful. Take your time. Let yourself release on down. And then once you're down, cross your right ankle above your left knee, that figure 4. And see if you can bring your left knee in towards your chest. If not, keep your left foot on the floor. If it's too much on your hip, otherwise you can clasp behind your left thigh, sending your right hand into that hole you've created to hold on to the back of that thigh. Flex the feet, or whatever, if one foot is up, flex that one foot. One more breath here. And then if the left foot is up, we're going to put it back down, uncross, and we'll switch. Left ankle above the right knee. Again, you can keep the right foot on the floor. You can encourage that left knee away from you with your hand, or you can lift that right foot up and hold behind your right thigh. Good. One more breath. And then if the foot was up, put it back down, uncross. Let's bring our right knee in towards our chest and extend our left leg long. And let your left hand come over to your right knee. Stretch your right arm out beside you, right out from your shoulder there. You can turn your palm up or down, whatever feels good. And then just bring the knee across into a twist. Now you can bring it a little bit, or you can go farther and farther. That really depends on you. If you'd rather keep your right hip closer to the floor and just come across the midline a little bit, do. Or maybe you want to release farther over. Take your time. If turning your head to look to the right adds a really nice ease for you up into your upper back, you can. Good. One more breath. And we're going to come on back now with the knee into center. And we're going to switch to bring the left knee in and extend the right leg down long. Flex through both your feet. And bring your right hand over to your left knee and stretch your left arm out beside you. And then again, when you start to draw the knee over, it is up to you how far. You know, you may want to keep it more up into the buttock area, or you may want to release farther over, feel it more up into the low back. So take your time. You can turn to look to the left if it feels good, or you can keep looking up at the ceiling. Just enjoy. Good. One more breath. Now when you come on back into center with that knee, go ahead and bring both knees in, and really just what does your body want to do right now, right? If you feel like stretching your legs up in the air, or doing a little happy baby, or bringing the soles of the feet towards each other, or it could be something entirely different. Just be mindful, let your body move in whatever way it needs right now. So if you need another twist, you can. If you need to let your hips release in a different way, by all means do. And you know, the important part is allowing yourself to be able to get ready for Shavasana here now. In other words, you want to be comfortable. If there's something else that would help you release, whether it's your back or your hips, you can start to move around and get some lights, and then I'll start to bring any kind of support that people need in here. If you're home and you want a little bit of support, by all means, either a little bit for underneath your head or for under your knees. Take your time. You know, another thing you can do is be into a wall and lie with your legs up a wall so that you let your back release. So those of you in here, I'm going to walk around. If you need something you don't have, wave at me. Let me know if you have something you'd like to have here in the studio, wave at me. And just allow yourself here now to release. Feeling the support of the ground underneath you. Starting now just to be with your own breath. Just watching the wave of the breath in and out. And as the breath starts to lead the body and your mind into that quieter place, just let yourself go there. And then you'll start thinking, and you'll come back again to following your breath. But just give yourself these few minutes so that you can allow your body to benefit in whatever way it needs from all you just did. Letting yourself completely and fully relax.
rise your belly. You feel the actual physical movement as you breathe in and out. Letting your breaths bring you back to wanting to move. Your fingers, your toes maybe starting to wiggle at first. Your hands, your feet. You know, if it feels good to circle around through your hands and feet, do. Coming up gradually into your arms, your legs. Might even want to let your head roll side to side. Take your time. You know, you can stay on your back. You can roll to either your right or your left side if you're comfortable to do that, and bring your knees in a little bit to come into a soft fetal position. You can stay there for a little bit to allow yourself to adjust. Just appreciating the ground a little bit longer. And you know, when you feel ready to rise up, take your time. Let yourself get comfortable in the way that you're seated. Once you come up, let your eyes stay closed, and once you're eventually able to get your head up there above your heart, just feel like your head is floating up there on top of your spine. So it's very easy to feel space in your spine. Feel your shoulders nice and released. Get your hands to a place where you feel very open across your chest, your upper back. And let your next exhale bring your hands gently together there, right in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Monday. And early Happy New Year.
That's all right.
If I don't see you again on Thursday.